economic community?
At the moment, the European Union is not much united. They have, they have a lot of conflicts. The British decided to leave the European Union, and it's not such a good combination. We should work together in the economic field, but politically we should allow each country to have its own way. If they still are not ready for democracy, that's okay. And see, but we go in, we want to change the political system, you change the legal system, all these things, that raises a lot of conflicts. That causes a lot of conflicts.
Well, our president, he's a professor in the field of energy. So what do you think about the, ASEAN energy market? But should we have further collaboration in the field of energy?
I think we should. Energy is something that we can transport over long distances. So if one country does not have a good hydroelectric potential, then buy the electricity from the other country. Laos is prospering because of hydropower. Then, of course, we want to have a clean environment. Number one, nuclear-powered energy is still not quite safe. You see what has happened to Fukushima, what has happened to Chernobyl, and if there is an earthquake anywhere, and nowadays there are many earthquakes, the damage done would be very extensive. So nuclear power, we think that nuclear science has not yet matured. It will only mature if you can reverse the process. At the moment they can activate the material, the uranium or whatever, but they cannot reverse it. And so they have a lot of waste which cannot be disposed of. But the other problem, of course, is with coal, it is dusty and not so good. If you have a good hydro potential, you should stay with hydro potential. Otherwise, you may have to think of renewable forms of energy.
Yes, you mentioned about Laos. Well, in Thailand, we very often hear about CLMV, Cambodia, Laos, Myanmar, Vietnam. Recently, we even have the CLMVT. The T is Thailand, the forum. Do you think Malaysia is left out?
Well, I don't think you should be classified together with Laos, Cambodia, and all that. I think you are far advanced. And the skills of the Thai people are fantastic. I was shown all the handicrafts last night, and the work is so fine. The bamboo, they make bamboo strips so fine that you could hardly believe that they can make nice patterns and designs.
Yes.
And yet they are doing it. So many things were shown to me last night. I was a little bit envious. I wish our people can do the same thing. When you have that kind of manual skills, you can transfer that skill to engineering, to all these modern products which are downsized, miniatures, and all that, all of which require an ability to differentiate what kind of material and how to make use of material in order to industrialize and grow the country. So I think Thailand is well on the way. Malaysia is behind you. We hope we can catch up with you.
Well, talking about production, there are reports that robotic engineer, automation, artificial intelligence, big data, and the data analytics have replaced and will increasingly replace both skilled and unskilled workers in several sectors. What do you think ASEAN should do in this regard?
Obviously, we should acquire the new knowledge. The new discoveries and all that are mostly found, discovered in Western countries. We should spend more money on research so that we can develop our own technology. As to employment, I remember when in Britain they began to introduce sewing machine, and they were able to produce cotton cloth much more easily and cheaper than those coming from India, etc. They thought that this will kill opportunities for employment. Actually, the demand for this is so great that more people are employed. But of course, these people must be trained in the new technology. I find that even in Malaysia, some people have already begun to develop these programs and producing the software for many users. And I think there is no limit. At first we thought that only Apple can produce or Microsoft can produce, but now so many people are into these new ways of using availability of data and knowledge. The means are there. It's up to us to think how to make use of the means. The power of the new technology is such that you can do a lot of things. You never think of having a plane fly without having a pilot, but now it can be done. Why? Because of new technology. Now the demand for such plane will be bigger. People will have to work and they will find new jobs.
So what would be the role of the university, since we are in the university, to deal with the new technology, to deal with innovation? Let me add a bit more of the question. Well, if we looked at the university in Malaysia moved up the ranking, the QS World Ranking time higher, moving very fast. What's the secret behind it?
Education will always play a big role in the development of a country because new things are being discovered. For example, the microchip. It can be used for a lot of other things. But first you must understand how the microchip works. How do you produce the microchip? Once you have that, you understand the power of this new development, and also, for example, for artificial intelligence. All this arises from the ability to store knowledge and retrieve knowledge. That's all that it does. When instead of A, B, C, D, you have about so many letters, here we have only two, 0 and 1, 0 and 1. But with this just two letters, we can spell more things than even with a Chinese way of writing. So I think it's up to us to study, understand, and think about application. We have artificial intelligence. So how do you apply it? Once you discover something, then you will succeed. Like Bill Gates, yes. He is rich not because he was trading, but because he did research.
Well, so far we mentioned about innovation, technology, science, but we also have the field of social science, arts, humanity. This is the next question. For this visit of yours, do you plan to seek more collaboration between educational institutes of Malaysia and Thailand? Well, another person suggested that Chulalongkorn University has an ASEAN Study Center, and why doesn't Dr. Mahathir start more joint projects between ASEAN Study Center in Malaysia and the one at Chulalongkorn University to strengthen ASEAN?
Well, quite definitely, cooperation between universities will enhance the knowledge that can be distributed through the universities. We will always need universities where there is not only teaching but also research. Research has become more and more important now than before. Before, some universities merely teach arts and literature, but no research was done. But now research departments are given a lot of money because the result of their research can contribute much towards the development of the country. Now, the other thing is, of course, I don't know whether this is a welcome remark or not, but the problem is that we need a common language. The difference between Malaysia and Thailand is that you teach in Thai, we try to teach in Malay, but eventually we have to resort to English. For higher education, most things are, the media is the English language. And because of this, and because of the former British Empire, most of the people who became independent retained English as the medium of teaching. They will go to countries where the teaching is in English. In Malaysia, most of the teachings are in English. That is why we have been able to attract a lot of people, and now we have a lot of private universities that offer very good courses, and they are listed among the universities of the world. If they want to have collaboration with Thailand, I think the language factor must be taken into consideration. If the teaching or the research is done in English, I think there will be very strong collaboration. But even without, we notice that even in Thailand, you speak English quite often. In fact, sometimes you are better than Malaysian already. But Malaysians now insist upon speaking Malay. Now they have forgotten how to speak English. So we are trying to bring back English as a teaching medium, particularly for science and mathematics. These are two subjects which we have to learn from other sources. Literature, we can have our own literature. But for science and mathematics, the language of science and mathematics today is English. The research are being done and published in English. So English as a common language will develop over time. And I think that it is useful, even if we teach in the national language, that we should also understand the English language.
Wow, that will be your homework, President Bandit. Well, we have 15 minutes left. I try to select interesting questions. Well, this terminology can be bitter or sweet. Number one, Belt and Road Initiative from China, Act East policy from India, America First from United States. Wow, how should ASEAN progress with such change in the region and other regions?
I think throughout history,